Hello, and welcome to the Spideydude experience. I'm Javi Trujillo, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Maximum Series first debut figure. You know who it is, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So we're going to get this guy out of the box and take a quick look and see what we think. Is it worth the $50? But before we get old Webhead out of the box, just a quick look at the side in an upside down pose with his spider sense going on, and then the back in a very Larson McFarlane style pose as well, just to give you an idea of what the whole package looks like. And a quick look at the other side, just a classic Spidey in a crouch. So there we go. Now let's not wait any further. Let's get this guy out of the box. In case you're curious, really quick, here's what the inside of the packaging looks like. Just giving you a few panels of some comic art. This is what he looks like in the packaging, but free of the box. Got your web hands, web shooter hands, classic crawling, web shooting, and open hands. Comes equipped with fists, web shield, web lines, spider sense, alternate head, alternate Peter Parker head. So here's a quick look at Spidey, fresh out of the box. Haven't posed him yet at all. Just wanted to kind of get a look at the figure, the sculpt, the paint apps in particular, because I've had some Hasbro figures where like they forgot to paint a side of the foot, or the paint was sloppy, the web lines weren't aligned. And as this is a more expensive figure, you would hope that wouldn't be an issue. And so far, I got to say he's looking pretty good. I love the McFarlane Spider. Um, it's quintessential. Mask is looking good. Arms are looking good. I've seen other people's reviews on this spider. It looks great right now, but as you flex these out, I don't know. I wish there was something else they could have done, because that does not look good at all, in my opinion. So I wish there could have been another solution for the back spider. So you get great range of motion here with these shoulders, so you can do some of those forward crunches. But then you look at the back of the figure, and that just looks ridiculous. Top of the head is looking good. Okay, so the paint lines are a little off here, but otherwise I think it holds up pretty well. And that mask is something else, man. I just love those late 80s, early 90s McFarlane eyes. Even this gap here between the two lenses, like that, to my recollection, is comic accurate. There was that big hole right there. So I think that looks good. But the head shape seems to be on point to me. Get some great range of motion with it. And yeah, just overall first impressions seems to be a winner. But yeah, let's play with some accessories and see what kind of poses we can get. Quick look at the two regular heads, or I should say the cowled heads, the masked heads. This is the one that came on the body. This is the one that came on the side. So I guess this is going for a little bit of a squint on that right eye to be like a surprise look, or what the heck kind of look. Because otherwise, that eye looks different, but this one seems to be fairly close to what we already got. A little bit sloppy here in the corner. on the paint, but top of the head's really solid though. Let's see what it looks like on the body. All right, so here he is with the alternate head, alternate hands, and the spider sense. So, looking pretty good, I think. Although it's not, I don't really feel like this face is quite as dramatic as they think it would look. I don't know. I don't think I'm quite getting a shocked expression from it like I thought it would. And again, just to compare it to the normal eyed, not a whole lot different. I wish maybe they would have gone for something a little more exaggerated, maybe like a full squint, which we've seen before, like when he's in pain or something. But I do think it looks good, and I like this. Just slides right on the head. You can just, it's like a crown basically. Just put it back on, but I like it. It's a nice touch. All right, so Maximum Spidey here on the left. Renew Your Vows Spidey on the right. And we'll throw in the MAFEX, whatever, in just a minute. Just to kind of give you a quick comparison to these two recent figures. Obviously, I don't know if the camera's quite picking it up. I don't feel like it is. Renew Your Vows is a little more brighter blue than the Maximum. Also, I switched out the hands here on Maximum Spidey. So you can see the web shooters, which I love this hand. I think it looks super cool, and seeing him depressing the trigger. This hand, though, you know, you're not going to see the trigger, unless you have it in some different pose. Not a fan of how these aren't articulated. Like, that's a great pose, but I wish you could get some wrist movement in that. But here is Peter Parker, a little dead in the eyes, I think. Slight smirk. But I really feel like the way they have the hair wisps in the front, the curls rather, and this kind of ducktail in the back. Like, I feel they captured the McFarlane style art. At least when it comes to the hair. I don't feel like his face is quite enough like how Todd would draw it. I feel like there should be just a little more roundness to it. And then, of course, just to compare the Renew Your Vows. I don't know, I think it's kind of up to the viewer which one looks more like Peter Parker, because they're definitely different eras. You know, it's not the deco Peter that the retro card figure series did, and it's not a Romita Peter. But yeah, you can see how this Renew Your Vows has the web lines are further apart versus the more together web lines on the Maximum. But I'm just kind of taking them both in right now. And one thing I'll say, having done, you know, looked at the MAFEXs and obviously had Hot Toys and the controversy, if you want to call it that, around the neckline with swappable heads. You know, Spidey in the comics would not, his suit wouldn't go all the way up like that. So we'll see in the MAFEX in a minute how there is some skin around the neckline where the neck stops and the skin begins. So we'll look at that in just a second. But like I said, wanted to do more of a apples to apples comparison between two Hasbro. God, I keep saying that. No, it is Hasbro. Between two Hasbro Marvel Legends. They do seem to be pretty comparable in height, though. Also, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But for me, head aside, I mean, really, your mileage may vary, but to me, this one is a far superior figure. All right, quick head swap, and So now we've got Renew Your Vows on the maximum. Actually, I kind of like how this looks. I think that looks really good. And I guess you can have this arm like putting in the web shooter, holding it that way. I don't know. And yeah, like I said, I really like the hair on maximum. I just don't know if I like that expression. I don't think the expression looks like a McFarlane expression. But that's what we got. So yeah, there's something about the eyes on that one that just don't work for me. That looks a little better there, but from far away, just, I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Do those eyes work? Does that face work for you? Or do you prefer this one? All right, so this is weird. Somehow adding Renew Your Vows and MAFEX over here, the Renew Your Vows looks a little bit taller now than he did in the prior shot that I had. Also, I'm noticing his feet are very pointed versus the more rounded of the Max. And I feel like the MAFEX kind of bridges the gap a little bit between the two. Definitely the smallest feet out of all of them. But yeah, so we've got on the left, Renew Your Vows, Max in the middle, MAFEX on the right. You can definitely see the color shades, how the MAFEX has like a dirty paint app to it. The blue is obviously a different shade. But, you know, when I was talking about earlier, the neckline, you know, he's got, sorry, I'm trying to focus. He's got the collar, like it doesn't, there's a flesh tone under the jawline that would be more natural, like Spidey's portrayed, as opposed to the other ones where it's just a head swap. So, sorry, I'm just not focusing at all today. There we go. So yeah, here's three similar but very different Spideys. Both have great ranges of poseability compared to what came in the past, but the Renew Your Vows feels, when the Max came out or was solicited, I was trying to get Renew Your Vows in some of those poses, couldn't really do it. So Max is definitely more posable, but the MAFEX just, it's interesting because it definitely feels lighter. And while it's very posable, but it doesn't feel stiff like this Hasbro does. These two both feel very stiff when you're trying to pose them. And the MAFEX just, it's very pliable, but it holds its pose. It's not loose, which is really important, especially when you're trying to get figures to stand. But you can see he is a little bit shorter than the other Spideys. Also, you can see some of the similar thigh cuts right here that the MAFEX wouldn't have. How they do the waist is different, where there's a hinge down here for these guys and not for him. Man, it's hard to say which one I like the most. I mean, it's probably between these two, but they both have their pros and cons. Let's give you a closer look. I feel like the MAFEX Peterhead is more in line with the Renew Your Vows, and definitely just not the goofiness that the Max has. Oh man, the more I look at that expression, it doesn't get any better. Nope, sure doesn't. Yeah, he's so tiny in comparison, it feels like now. All right, last of the comparisons before we go back to just straight Max Spidey. Obviously, we got Renew, Max, and MAFEX. Now they're all wearing the same cowl, or they're all wearing their cowls rather, all with a web shooter pose. Yeah. Renew Your Vows still seems the tallest. Somehow MAFEX looks a little bit taller, than he did before with the Peterhead, but he definitely looks just a titch shorter than Max. I've never really cared for this Renew Your Vows face sculpt. The jawline feels weird. I don't like the eyes. It looks better at certain angles, but I really don't like the curve at the top of the lenses, and it doesn't feel like Stegman's art to me. Versus the Max, I mean, no matter what I look at, it's McFarlane through and through. Also, he gets bonus points for having web hands and a web hand where he's starting to whip out a web, which is really cool. You just need that little bit to sell the point, you know? I think that comes out really great. And then to me, this MAFEX one has always, even with these wide eyes, has always looked more, at least this head sculpt, more Mark Bagley. There's a second mask sculpt that looks more like Sal Buscema to me. But comparing these two, definitely one is McFarlane. They both look like just quintessential Spidey to me, like late 80s, early 90s. Although, looking at the color for the MAFEX, like it doesn't quite hit right like the Max does, the Maximum series. I mean, you can just see that it's great paint, and it's got a great shade and texture to it, definition that gets brought out, but it doesn't quite feel like what it looks like when you read the comic. Also, you know, you have the painted web lines on the Max versus the sculpted web lines with some light paint in them on the MAFEX. So it kind of depends just on your preference, you know. Obviously, with the sculpted web lines, you're not going to lose, they're not going to scratch off over time. Versus, you know, right here in the ab crunch, you can already see a bit of paint that chipped. And I mean, the figure's been out of the box for an hour. So, both really good Spideys, but which one has more value? That's, I mean, ultimately, it's kind of up to you. I mean, the MAFEX does have a ton of accessories. And I haven't put it to a posing challenge yet, but they may be comparable. Maybe. But they definitely crunch in different areas. I don't know if I have a favorite right now. I mean, definitely the Renew Your Vows is out of the equation. I don't know. Maybe the Maximum feels a little more comic accurate right now. Because even Bagley, like, I don't feel like the colors were like this. They were closer to what we see here with the Maximum. So, I don't know. Either way, though, very fortunate to have two good-looking Spidey figures in the collection that remind me of the character from my youth. And because this is Hasbro being in competition with MAFEX and other high-end figures in this 1/12 scale, I think it's fair to do a comparison of what like the accessories look like in the packaging, comparing the two. So over here, this is what, minus the figure, obviously, the Spider-Man comic version number 75 MAFEX, and then obviously here the Maximum Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Just so you kind of get a comparison of what you get with each offering. Obviously, we got tons of web lines here, different types of web lines there, multiple heads, tons of hands. But where the MAFEX comes out ahead is it has alternate feet and also alternate hands that have magnets in them at the bottom. So that's something that you know, we're not seeing with the Marvel Legends at all. The magnets aren't necessarily the strongest. Like, you definitely need like at least 2 or 3 of the hands or feet connecting to, like, say, the fridge. But it is a cool thing to have a Spider-Man who can stick to any, you know, metallic surface and make it look like he's wall crawling. So it's a lot of fun to have. But yeah, that's just a quick look at how the packaging compares, and you can kind of get an idea of all the accessories that come within. So this has been our look at the Maximum Spider-Man. Is he a MAFEX killer? MAFEX killer? That's going to be up for you in your pocketbook to decide. I think they come close. They definitely offer a lot of value for what you get. Could they have offered a little more value? Yeah. Could they have given you a better or more defining second masked head sculpt? Yes. Could the Peter Parker head sculpt have looked better? Yeah. But do you get a lot of cool hands? For sure. A lot of nice accessories. A great looking McFarlane sculpt? 100%. It's just when you compare it to like the MAFEX, like there's just something about the plastic that I think just feels better and more high quality with the MAFEX, and this still feels very much like a Marvel Legends, even though they've got some great detailing. Like I really like the paint apps, but there's some things like the joints here, the way the black spider goes, it just, I don't know. I would feel really comfortable with this as a 40, maybe even a $45, $45 figure. 50 seems a little on the pricier side, but given how, things are going to be going up with the tariffs, this isn't a bad option. And it is, I mean, this is an all-timer looking Spider-Man figure to me. So I'm happy I got it. Definitely going to be displaying him in the collection or on my desk here to look at it all the time and change up his poses. I would have liked, like I said, a couple more things, but overall, I think this is a really solid figure, maybe the best Marvel Legends Spidey figure yet. So thanks for watching, as always. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Spideydude Radio Network to catch all our great content. Until next time, take care, true believers.